think that I just come in there and look for knockouts, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, wait, I'm here. Who want to fight with me? Who?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
My goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all of the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Oh man, we had a wonderful weekend of boxing, man. We got some answers to some questions. Zepeda stepped on the Roach. And that's what we're gonna get to, man. It was a lot of things that, a lot of questions that got answered, man, and the funny moves are still the funny moves, man. This is just wild, man. We in the media, we in the boxing media era, man, where the media is what runs and controls every blood clot ting, But if you hear the sound of my voice, man, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we can be able to chop it up and kick it about some real boxing, man, and have some real boxing talk, man. Salute the Cookie Monster. You say Bodywork. Salute the Dead Wall. Salute Bodywork Boxing, fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. You already know, Dead Wall. Good to see you in the building. Cookie Monster say mic check, sounding crystal clear. That's what I like to hear. But man, we got some answers to some questions. Boxing is wild, man, and can't wait till we get to the meat and potatoes, but we're not gonna rush it. You know what I'm saying? We definitely not gonna rush it. We're gonna go through our normal spill and get through everything that we need to get to. I'm just excited, man, about boxing right now. Cause I think boxing, AC was alluding to it as well. Boxing is fixing itself. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is really fixing itself. There's some things that's readjusting and realigning itself in the sport, man. And I'm just glad to be here for it. Documenting it, being thorough in my approach. Not salacious. You know what I'm saying? So salute to the 300. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who come through and salute. Like the video. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the likes up. Let's have a good program. I'm not sure we're going to be here that long because it is Sunday evening. I know people probably getting ready for their work week or whatever, but you know how it is, man. I got to cater to the night owl, especially on the East Coast. Got to give you something in the evening, man, that you can take on to your next boxing conversation. But I'm going to go ahead with no further ado. What I'm going to do is go ahead and get into the housekeeping. Let's get to the first one. Number one, Quack Sean Clout chasing Crash Out Davis. And y'all already know I don't spend a lot of time, on the salacious stuff, man. It's touch and go. So if it's unless somebody talk about it or get up on the panel and talk about it or have some thoughts or opinions about it, we'll entertain it. But we're not. I said we need to starve these because I said what you don't feed won't grow. So it's touch and go when it comes to this subject. But I gotta come out and remind y'all of some things, man, when it came down to Quack Sean Clout chasing Crash Out Davis. So let's get into it. Let me take this down real quick. Let me just take this down real quick and let's go into something real quick. Look, this is what I wanted to show y'all. So if we go back, right, we go back a little bit, right? I've been doing this series right here, and I've been called, and it's called "The Fuck Is a Duck," right? So we got some players here. We got Ray Ford, Oshaki, Shakur, Keyshawn, Hitchens, and Devin. This was episode 2 of it right here. Shakur, Keyshawn. We had Morataya, Lamont Roach, and we had Oshak. And we've been following this bouncing ball all along. And last week, well, I think it was before. It might have been last. It was like, I think it was last week, beginning of last week, or even the week before. I said, listen, man, purse bids are not a victory. And what was my qualification? Because we were celebrating prematurely, right? Purse bids, I reasoned that I gave this whole spiel. This is where you got the nutritional value. And I gave this spiel about how purse bids are not a victory unless we get to fight, right? Unless a fight comes out of it and it comes to fruition, it's not good. Like this doesn't, like I know it's a lot of Devin Haney fans. They in the mess out with their chests out now. And yes, Devin has been exonerated. Yes, he has. Absolutely, he's been exonerated with the Keyshawn stuff. But I see people going a little bit overboard with that. This is more about the exposure of Jay Prince and his 2 double-barrel shotguns, right? Because one of his double-barrel shotguns, when he went to go use it, it jammed up. And the other one has got all these prerequisites and qualifications and all of that, right? So the way I see it is this was just a ploy to get Devin Haney to drop his strap, right? But in this series, right, going back to this series right here, the very, very first one, which is a classic episode, I believe, I went over like the 8 different ways that fighters duck, right? There's like 8 different ways, like by the book, going back in date, like that can be annotated, like the 8 most popular ways that fighters tend to duck, right? So this was the illustration I gave for one of them. This was called pintails or picky terms. So whenever you frequent the channel, you hear me say, "Oh, that's pintails, picky terms." When somebody they're getting out of a fight, you can never get them. There's a couple boxers that do this on a regular basis. Salute to OG Kaz. Salute OG. But I reason that this one I call it pintails, which is picky terms. They want all these picky terms, like, no, you gotta have plain M&Ms and cookies and cream, ice cream in my locker room before the fight, right? You're required to do at least 3 headstands. You got a pop on a headstand for me. You got to find the biggest coin on the East Coast to do the flip. It's like all these little stupid picky terms that they do. Like when it's like, man, why? Like if the money is right outside of the ring size, the glove size, and the money being right. And we already know, like, the most popular guy, or the guy that got all the power in the situation, they pretty much come out last. That's just what, like, so gloves, the type of gloves, right? The ring size, right? And the money. Venue, location, all that, you know what I'm saying? That's subject to what's going to sell. And if you're doing right, and if you accustomed to doing those things, then the people around you and the team are going to guide you in the right direction to put the fight where it's supposed to be. Unlike the Ryan and Devin Haney fight, where they put that shit up in New York, and that was not a great place to do it, in my humble opinion, and it showed. But picky terms was one of them. But what was another one? And I use Keyshawn because I noticed that he's real, like he got a lot of little caveats and a lot of little things, but this is the one that's more appropriate. The Muscovy Drake. That's the price out. And why would you have Canelo Alvarez on there when he's like one of the faces he's pretty much the face of boxing for a long time. He was the money man, the big money man, and the guy that everybody was chasing. You know, why would you put him on there, Mike? If you listen, I'm gonna tell you, right? Reason why Canelo was on there is because he wanted 200 M&Ms to face David Benavidez. That's why. That is the ultimate price out. Why you want $200 million to face David Benavidez? David Benavidez got to be a bad MF, if you ask me. But this is the real category that Clout Sean Quack Sean, this got to be the real issue with Quack Sean. It's the price out, right? And you know, we were still like we let the beat build a little bit, we let stuff breathe, and we try to qualify all of our information, right? When we do this, we try to qualify all our information when we do these things, right? And we sometimes we let it build up because it's like, man, we're not gonna report every 5 minutes. Javante Tank Davis just went to the bathroom. He's constipated. 3 minutes later, he stubbed his toe on his way back to the bed. We're not gonna do that. That's just like the dumbest. We let it build up. We research. We look at different sources, and then we come out and we make our presentation on the information, and we use what's pertinent, and we don't be salacious. That's what we do. But to add insult to injury, right, as I'm trying to qualify this, and I'm just like, hold on, man. Really, what this was Jay Prince, Shakur Stevenson, and Keyshawn Davis had this elaborate plan, right? And it was all geared towards Devin Haney dropping that strap. Why you say that? Because Shakur was out here campaigning saying, if you drop your strap, then you got to come down to 144, and then you got to, rub my belly and feed me grapes, look, all this dumb stuff. I'm just like, hold on, bro. Go to his division, right? If you're not gonna go there, just be quiet about it. But you went over there to Zuffa Allen, and we cooked them. You know what I'm saying? We touched and go on that. We said that it was no more locked doors because PBC joined the zone, and then Shakur Stevenson Shakur aka Twitterson ran to Zuffa Allen. Right, just when PBC show up to the party and it's no more side of the street, everybody's on the zone. He goes to Zuffa Allen. So we cooked him. So that was his ploy. Really, that was from his side. He was trying to get Devin to drop that strap. Why was he trying to get Devin to drop that strap? So his bro, because they Wildly Kid and Wildly Cat, Batman and Robin, the Twat Bros is now what I'm calling them. They're the Twat Bros. That's their new name. It's Quack and Twitterson. The Twat Bros. He was going to try to get him to drop the strap so that Keyshawn Davis could have at it with the strap, right? And he was going to probably have to fight somebody for the strap, or I don't know how they was going to do it. They've been giving him so much favor. I don't know if he would have just inherited the belt. That would have been even more fugazi. But boxing, like my man AC said, is fixing itself. It's actually it's just, I'm not gonna say all is right in the world of boxing, but it's realigning itself, and some things are happening. One of the major things is a testament for the meat and potatoes once I get there, without being on, right? But boxing is realigning itself. So ultimately, look, I was still trying to qualify this information. I said, hold on, man, because everybody kept speculating about the 1.3. They were saying, hold on, man, okay, well, he got paid 1.3. That was his highest payday or whatever, right? And they were saying, okay, well, if he got offered the 1.5 and he turned that down, they say they double back. And I don't go by hearsay. That's why I sit. Sometimes I wait when it come down all that. One, I'm not a pocket watcher. I de-gab what they get paid. You know what I'm saying? We can tell when somebody is on some BS and they don't really want to fight, right? But I don't really care about that. But for the sake of conversation and being in the know, I have to be knowledgeable about it. You're not going to find me up here talking about somebody else and what they get paid. You're really not. That's not really the point. The point of the matter is, when they said that he got offered the 1.5 and he turned it down, it was reported that they doubled back and said, okay, well, it's going to be 3. He turned that down. So I'm like, man, if he turning down $3 million and his highest payday was 1.5, because that's what was being said or whatever, then it's like, how can you justify that? Because you got a chance to dethrone Devin Haney, who's like the face of YouTube boxing. He is the face of boxing. It's just he's the face of YouTube boxing. That's qualified. So I'll give him credit. He's the face of YouTube boxing. He's not the face of boxing. He's the face of YouTube boxing. So gotta salute him for that, because YouTube, he run that shit, hands down. He got so many people that's out here doing his bidding for him and whatever. He don't even have to really show up. He don't really have to say nothing. Between his father and all these paid channels and all these millions that they got and all these echo chambers they got set up, he don't have to do nothing. He's the face of YouTube boxing. So I was like, hold on, man, this don't make sense. Like, why would Keyshawn pass up? I was saying, look, me and AC was basically saying that these guys were playing chicken. And we was like, okay, well, who's going to swerve first? It wound up being Keyshawn. And the longer we dig into it, the more information we get about this story, the worse it gets. Check this out. Check this out, y'all. This is how musty this situation is. So according to Rick Glazier, and salute to AC. AC's in the building. Salute AC. Let me bring you on board. Salute AC.
Salute, bro. Do your thing. I'll chime in.
I didn't want to keep you back there without. I saw you in there. I put you on there, but yeah, didn't Keyshawn turn out his biggest payday twice in 1 week last week? That's what I'm getting to, OG Cass. You absolutely on it. Look at this. Look at what Rick Glazier. So I always say, don't take my word for it. Let's qualify the information. But I find it appalling. This is Rick Glazier, right? This is what he tweeted. He said, Keyshawn, the businessman, Davis updates yesterday generated some phone calls to me. One was very interesting. Was told by a real quality source that Keyshawn's biggest prior purse was 1.3 million, but he never received it. That was the fight. He was overweight and he didn't fight. Let's stop there. So the acclaim, so he was getting credit for getting the 1 point. I was hearing 1.5. Some people saying 1.3. I don't, some people don't really care about the point. It does matter because that point is something. When you're talking about millions, that point means something. That's hundreds of thousands when you talk about that point. So the point does mean something. But can you imagine? Can you imagine this? That okay, when he was getting ready to fight, that was the fight when he was getting ready to fight De Los Santos. So when he was getting ready to fight De Los Santos, he was going to get the 1.3. But guess what? He blew weight. The businessman blew weight. So yes, even though that was on deck to be, as you went through with the fight, you was going to be able to count that M plus change. But you didn't make it there. So that wasn't even your highest. So when you got offered the 1.5, that was really going to be your highest payday. You say no, you play hardball. Your guy, probably Jay Prince was doing it, you know what I'm saying? He got you to 3, which we got to imagine is 3 times your highest payday. And you say no. So then it goes to the purse bid. And we already knew what was going to happen with the purse bid. And a lot of people was online celebrating. And I was repeating, I said, listen, y'all, this is not something to be celebrated when you go to purse bid. Why? Because big fights are negotiated at the table. They don't make it to purse bid. It's like most free agents, they don't really walk out the door. Especially if you worth something that you're just not a headache. They don't let free agents just walk out the door. They will woo you. They will pursue you. They will give you whatever you want. They'll bend over backwards. They'll make the back of their heels touch the back of your head to keep you right where you at. So free agents going and moving all over the place, that's not good. That's not good. That indicates that either you a prima donna and something wrong with you, you a headache, you asking for way too much, but good quality athletes do not really leave in free agency unless it's something crazily wrong, unless it's something shady going on. They don't. And real good fights, they don't really go to purse bid. And I know somebody will probably quote an exception to the rule, but if you quote an example, that's an exception to the rule. There are exceptions, but typically it is not a good thing for a fight to go to purse bid. And as fans, we should not be celebrating when a fight go to purse bid. Why? Because it's only a victory if we get the fight. We wind up not getting the fight. And Klaus Sean, Quack Sean, Crash Out Davis got exposed. You know who else got exposed? Shakur. This man went right back to calling out Devin Haney, talking about 144, 144. I'm like, listen, man, let that man do some work over there on Zuffa Island. Let that man stay over there. I like T.O.'s approach now. I like what T.O. been saying. Like, we don't discuss Zuffa. We don't talk about. I love that approach, T.O. You got me, man. You slowly, you know, I don't trust you just yet. I don't, but I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying. So I got my eyes on you. I ain't gonna go hard in the paint on you, but I like what you're saying. We don't talk about Zuffa Island. We not gonna give them no. But guess what? He also got exposed. Why? Cause look at this, y'all. Shakur got to be one. Man, I excuse my French, man. Shakur is a whole ass nigga, man. Shakur is one whole ass nigga, man. That's why I'm glad. I'm glad I had vision since high school, man, and I run with my vision. I trust my vision, man, because when I'm on it, I'm on it. Now I might be people might look at me sideways when I first bring it out, and they be like, "What? Oh, he tripping." I just be like, "Okay, let some time go by." Why? Because time will reveal all. It's going to let you know exactly what's going on. Just let some time go by. You let it develop, it's going to show itself. Now watch this. Watch this whole ass nigga. Let's look at this. Look at this whole ass nigga. 18 hours ago. It was a couple hours ago. So it's probably like 21 hours ago because I saw this like 3 hours ago. Yo, champ, I see why you didn't want that belt at 135, O'Shaquie Foster. It makes sense now. You hoe ass nigga, Shakur. What is your hoe ass talking about, Shakur? Because remind you, the premise for this episode right here, when I did this, what the fuck is a duck? It was centered around like them, like that, like the major players, the key players. And since Tank was inactive, he ain't in this. He's been inactive. He wasn't in this. This was about the major players or the guys that everybody was looking at. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Shakur. When Stephen Fulton made that mistake, right? When Stephen Fulton made that mistake, let's go back down memory lane real quick. When Stephen Fulton made that mistake, right, and he blew weight, and they made it a 135. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. Why? Because they had already promised that JD Herrera was going to fight somebody for that strap. I don't know why every time I bring this up, I forget my man's name, but it was a Hispanic brother. JD Herrera wound up fighting him. He ultimately wound up fighting him and getting it, and he was supposed to be the interim. But what happened was when Stephen Fulton blew weight, they made that strap to be the WBC lightweight interim. And I was like, see, this is like, where's the fake outrage? Because people always talk about outrage when their favorite fighter, like the stuff that Shakur is trying to do, right? With the stuff that Shakur is trying to do, they always try to like, and the stuff that Bud was saying, they try to come down to sanctioning bodies at that point in time. It's like, no, but when the sanctioning body do something real funky, like putting Keyshawn #1 at 147, that was no outrage. When they did this with Fat Boy, you know what I'm saying, Fat Boy Fulton, the fat bastard, you know what I'm saying? No, it was no outrage. And so what happened was when O'Shaquie wound up putting belt to ass on Fulton, he had that strap. He had inherited that 135 strap. You know what Shakur was saying at that time? I'm not fighting him. He said, I'm not fighting him. And at that time, we highlighted that what was O'Shaquie saying? O'Shaquie was saying, listen, man, I've already cleared it. This was the time when 2 B-sides, I highlighted it. I said, this is the time when 2 B-sides actually sent A-sides contracts. You don't get that. Because Rolly sent Devin a contract. He said the money was good, only the book ended and say the money wasn't good. He didn't want to be a promoter. He didn't want to invest in this himself with the $6 million or whatever. Not gonna get into that. Well, the offer that O'Shaquie had put out there for Shakur, when he was in that seat, he had the interim strap. He said, listen, already cleared it with the WBC. I will pay that fee, that 120 grand. I will pay that fee for you. All you gotta do is fight me. And I'll fight you in your backyard. We can do it in Houston. Shakur was like, nah, I don't like the way he's talking to me. O'Shaquie was not going to sit around and stay there at the 135 when he had unification that he could make. Because this is how I was looking. Now, Casey wound up beating my man on the right. So we got to replace Casey on here, right? But it was Navarrete and him, right? So he was looking for a unification. Outside of that, he was saying, listen, I'll stay here if Shakur was going to fight me. Shakur said no. Shakur said no. I don't like the way he talked. Even though he jumped in the ring, right? He refused to shake the man's hand. He called him the B word, called him out of his name and all this stuff. And then now, after he see Williams Zepeda do that to Lamont Roach, he said up there talking about, I see why you ain't want that strap. Shakur is one whole ass nigga. And like OG Cat says, so he's mental. Something is mental with him. The only reason why I say he know what he's doing because he's getting high off of the social media drug. Remember I told y'all relevancy is the new drug. And some of the side effects are avid clout chasing, right? Extreme bogusness, right? You get the big head, right? Narcissism. These are all just like when you read like Q-Limpa or whatever, Q-Limpia and all these things where they be like, okay, if you got severe migraines, right, just take this, but you might have severe diarrhea, eye twitching, heart palpitations. That's what happens when relevancy is the new drug. You're going to get severe clout chasing. You're going to get extreme narcissism. You're going to become bipolar because you're going to say one thing in this interview and then you're going to go over to another interview and you're going to say something that totally, like what he was saying, I don't need Tank and F that nigga and he don't blah, blah, blah. And now, my favorite fighter to watch is Tank and Bam and blah, blah, blah. I said, man, this guy, he's stuck. He's stuck. And here we go again, this whole ass nigga. We're going to stop feeding him, man. We're going to stop feeding him because Oshaki made it to where he was going to pay your fee and get your belt back, but it wasn't about you and the belt, sir. It wasn't about you and the W because y'all trying to devalue the belt. Bud left the game devaluing the belt. Keyshawn picked up the torch. He inherited all the clout that Bud got. I don't know how because he not even the type of fighter that Bud is, especially with Bud's last move out the door, jumping up 2 weight classes to get Canelo with no nothing. No contingency, no nothing. So he inherited all that bullshit that Bud passed down to him, which I say is bullshit because Bud, he went out the door the way he went out the door doing some, some gangster shit. They just let Shakur inherit that, but he didn't earn it. We know you're a 4th division champ, but you look at the resume and then you look at all these moves and you look at the fact that there's more people that he won't fight than he will, and all these things that he said in the media, he don't deserve it. But he's a whole ass nigga, man. Meanwhile, you got people like Oshaka, you got people that still putting up guards and barriers and being bodyguards, saying, oh, no. And then you got Shakur Stevenson come out here talking about, oh, I see why. Oshaki said he's looking at the winner, dumb. If Navarrete was dragging his feet and all that, and there wasn't going to be no unification, which a lot of people want to see, he said he was looking at the winner of Williams Zepeda and Lamont Roach. Dumb. You whole ass nigga. Shakur is a whole ass nigga, man. Like, I do not mess with that dude at all, man. When they say ding, 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 I'm gonna watch his fights, you know what I'm saying? But he a whole ass nigga, man. That's all I really got to say about that, man. Like, I don't really know, but between him and Quack Sean, man, they are done, bro. Like, Quack Sean might have ruined his career. And we're not gonna try to. I heard the Haney boys trying to get people to match make, and we shouldn't care about who the fuck Keyshawn gonna fight next. Let that whole ass nigga go get his life right. Cause them 2 double barrel shotguns, one that just jammed up on you right when you needed the most. That shit jammed up. That shit could have won you 30% of $3 million, which is like close to $1 million. Well, yeah, it's like 9. He jammed up on you. And your other one is just way too noisy. It don't really bust his gun. It busts his gun every now and again, but that shit is just way too noisy, man. You could hear somebody running with that shotgun way before you even see him with it, man. So it's just way too noisy. It talk way too much. You know what I'm saying? It's a prima donna. You gotta handle it the right way. You know, it might go off if you just sit it back. You sit it up in the holster. You sit it in the gun rack. That shit might go off, man. It's a liability, man. Fuck them 2 double barrel shotguns that Jay Prince got. And fuck that whole ass strategy they had, man, because it made Devin look good. Now, the thing is, Devin, he's not all the way off the hook. He's been exonerated in this situation, but Devin not all the way off the hook. Yes, I respect what Bill and Devin was able to do in this situation because they stood tall, they stood firm, they did not drop that strap. But we can declare that Clout Sean, Crash Out Davis, is the PUSSY. Him and Shakur. Devin, he could stand tall, but he's not quite off the hook. He still got to get somebody that's valuable. I heard them trying to like campaign for Liam Paro and all this, whatever. But I don't know why they're not talking about Richardson Hitchens. Richardson Hitchens beat Liam Paro, but if it's a unification with Liam Paro, okay, so be it. They campaigning to go to Australia and all that, but they campaign for them people like Catterall. They was campaigning for Catterall, Liam Paro. They campaign for them guys where they got all of the advantages over. It's gonna be I bet you won't even hear. I bet you next thing you know, they're gonna be fighting, and we ain't gonna hear all this back and forth in the media about them. Watch what I say, because when they really believe they can beat somebody, we don't get all that bickering and all that that BS that we get when they really be confident. So right now, Devin is exonerated. Clout Sean is PUSSY. That's stamped. And it looked even worse because he never even touched the 1.3, but he turned down $3 million. He leapfrogged all them people. He wasted all that time. Now Tiger Johnson saying, send me a contract, you hoe ass nigga, to Devin Haney. He wanted it, but Devin ain't going that route. But there's people that's climbing the ranks, man. And Keyshawn he self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest. That's what that double barrel shotgun did. He shot himself in the chest and blew all his toes off. He don't got a leg to stand on right now. That's number one. Number two, boxers are delusional, man. Not all of them, but they are delusional. I'm gonna tell you why. I've been trying not to use so much cayenne pepper when it comes to people these days. I'm trying to be like, more observant, more like slow to speak, quick to listen more, you know what I'm saying? Using my ears, being patient, not responding, not letting everything move me, right? But I was watching that fight last night, and I kind of like the fact that, I kind of feel sorry for Bud a little bit because he was a late bloomer, right? And it's like he's just now getting his flowers. He got his flowers late in life, right? So now he's getting to do all of, like, them people that like really didn't get none when they was in high school, like them dudes that they wasn't getting none. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't really like, they ain't have no chicks, they ain't have no girls, they wasn't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? They was pretty much waka, like all the time. And then finally when they, they might grow up a little bit, they might lose some weight, they might get a nice job, and now all of a sudden they got all the ladies, so they trying to do all the shit that they didn't do or get a chance to do when they was in high school. That's kind of like what Bud's going to do. So now he's this social media darling, he's this social butterfly, he's like this media big bro and all this, and he be walking around like fucking intimidating Tim Bradley and Sean Porter and punking them out on the media when they be sitting around talking, and they gotta always acknowledge that they beat him in some shit. Oh yeah, he beat me in this, he beats me in everything. I'm like, y'all got to be the gay ass, sorry, excuse my French, let me calm down. I was watching the fight last night, and it came around to Bud, and they got to talking about him, like Charles Conwell and Paul Crow, right? Now Paul Crow was 16-0 with 10. He was 16-0. I think it was 10 knockouts. No, I think he was 16-0. Well, he had a high knock. Only 2 people made it with him, but he was like 16-0, right? Undefeated guy, a Philly fighter, right? Who was nice, like he was known to be nice. So he came off inactivity, right? Conwell came off of a loss to that guy Chino Perez and inactivity, right? You know what the first thing Bud said? He said he came back, he fought a guy that was inactive. He said, yeah, he got the stoppage. He said, but he don't have the right to declare that he's back. He got the stoppage, but because he fought a guy coming off of what, y'all? Coming off of what? Come again, say what? inactivity. When you fought Earl, was he coming out like? This is why I say they delusional, man. Like like when you hear Shakur and how he talk, that's the same shit Bud be doing. They be talking and whatever, but like the shit that they done, right? So he's supposed to be the king of Mount Kilimanjaro. He's supposed to be able to stand at the top of the, you know what I'm saying? When he fought Earl, wasn't Earl coming off of car accident, inactivity, all this crazy shit? But Conwell, who's now 21-0 with 17 knockouts, straight up dismantled my man straight from the beginning, coming off inactivity. He been in camp since March. And he was honest. He said, yeah, ring rust was, you know what I'm saying? He said, but considering the layoff and all this, he said, I think I did a good job. But Bud said he can't declare that he's back after stopping an undefeated fighter, and they both coming off inactivity. This is why I say, man, most people be talking, and I can't help it, man. I'll be listening, and I'll be like, okay, my mind it be working so fast that I just can't help but hear these things and calculate. I'm like, hold on, man. You are a hypocrite. You are delusional. So a lot of the guys, they'll say something like a lot of shit that Shakur say. He'll say and point his finger at somebody else, but he be doing it like the shit that he do be worse, or he be in the same boat. It be the pot calling the kettle black all the time, man. Now I know Bud is in the social media era, and I just wanted to use that as an example. But a lot of these guys, when they get to talking, especially when they get to talking about somebody else, because Shakur done got bammed up so many times. Bud done got bammed up in and ain't nobody brave enough to check them and say, hold on, man. And they be like, yeah, well, actually, yeah, you right about that. But nobody's there to check them about that. What do you mean Conwell can't say he's back? He's back. After 16 months. We seen what happened with Bakram. The IBF, who was the IBF welterweight champ, didn't move up to 154 and fight him. What they do? They had that man out for what, 18 months? Josh Kelly got him off inactivity. We seen how he came back after he damaged Tim Tszyu. What happened? Josh Kelly wound up getting his hand raised off of inactivity. So that's whack to me. That's whack to me when these fighters get out here and they say something, but it don't, like what they've done is that's why I say it's always an exception. Like, oh no, that don't apply to me. It applies to you too. But how much glory, how much credit do you get for stopping Earl? But Conwell don't get no credit for dropping and stopping Paul Crow, and they both was inactive. Make it make sense. The last one. Rolly and T.O. undercard. Corey, Kenshin, Stone, Jamira Parker. Okay. Well, let me get to this last one. Rolly, T.O. undercard. Let's look at it. This jive mid to me. It's a little mid to me. Now, as a guy who I actually like Gary Antonio. That's one of the Russell brothers. I'm glad to see him back. But let's look at it. Carlos Utria and Israel Mercado. I'm thinking that's he's a kin or a brother to Tito. I'm thinking. I gotta look it up, but I would have to look him up. But then you got Victor Santillon versus Antonio Russell. Now I like that because I know Antonio, but I know I'm a hardcore too, and I'll be checking for Antonio. And if we get time, if I get a moment, I'm gonna pull up that video and show y'all one of the most deadliest combinations I've ever seen in my life by Gary Antonio. He's the one who I said I thought he almost broke this dude's neck. Like literally, I thought he, like, you know how when you hit somebody with a hook and their head spin around and look like it's gonna keep going. He hit somebody like that and Buddy collapsed. Like it was dangerous. Like the way he set it up, man, he's very dangerous, man. But he's been slightly inactive. I think he's rebounding off of an injury. You know, I think he's getting himself back together. He did suffer a loss to the hands of Emmanuel Rodriguez, Emmanuel Rodriguez is a tough little dude. Emmanuel Rodriguez got stopped by Inouye, right? Body shot, vicious, but he came back. He got back in that lab he came out there and put a demo down on Gary Antonio. But I'm glad that Gary Antonio, you know, it seemed like he's back confident. I've been seeing little clips or whatever where he's training and stuff like that. So I'm happy to see my man, one of my guys back, man. He's from the DMV area. So I'm proud of him for coming back, you know what I'm saying, and brushing his shoulders off and keep on doing it. Because he probably really don't have to do this, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that he still wants to do it. And he's on this card, which is going to be a lot of eyebrows. Now, the other one, right before T.O. and Rolly, you get Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo's making a lot of noise. That's the guy I say this. I call him Evil LeBron because he look like an evil LeBron James. You know how they got Mario and Wario? He would be the Wario version of LeBron James because that's how he looked at me. He looked like LeBron, but just mean, like just evil, like mean. And very high offensive output. People say that, you know, that's pretty much the guy to beat at 60 right now. And, you know, I think I still want to see more. I want to see a couple different opponents, but he do look like a force to be reckoned with. His output, his punch variety, like how relentless he is. He got a high motor. He's very athletic. Punches very hard. Look like he punched very hard. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. But then he's going against Francisco Varone. So to me, I mean, you know, I like Yo-Yo. I like what I'm seeing so far. He's still in my grading period. I'm not, you know, passing the throne to him or passing the torch to him right now. I still got to see him against a couple different styles before I really stamp him, just like I do everybody else. So the fact that I you know, I'm still evaluating Yo-Yo, get to see him, you know, under the bright lights, under the spotlight. This will almost be like how Boots was when he was on that Tank undercard when he fought Karen the first time. So he's gonna be right there. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be right there on the big bright lights. We're gonna see how Yo-Yo perform against Varone. And Varone can punch. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna be good. You know, Gary Antonio coming back. I like to see it. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the eyeballs on that. I mean, but who knows Santillan, right? And who knows the other guys? We gotta hope that the undercard is all right. And I'm not taking a on this. I'm just saying that it's mid. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes these kind of cards right here can come around and be better than what, like, when you actually sit down and watch the card, they can be better than what the paper shows. You know how some people say on paper, you know, on paper it's mid, but it might be lit. So I don't know, you know, but that's just my thoughts, man. And that's the housekeeping, y'all. That's like the beginning. It's like to open up the show. AC, what you got on any of this?
Well, I'm gonna start at the last part with the card. The way I'm reviewing it, that you just looked at it, the first thing that's coming to my mind, we're looking at a KO card. Every last one of these fights have the potential of somebody getting knocked the fuck out, or more than likely somebody's gonna get knocked the fuck out, especially the Yo-Yo fight and the Russell fight. Mercado, I don't know which Mercado it is and stuff like that, so I can't really speak on those last guys, but the expectation with Rolly and Tio is that fight is not going the distance. Whenever I look at Yo-Yo, I'm pretty much at this stage on this type of card. This fight right here with Varone is like your pre-breakout fight. The fight that you go into before, or the fight that you go into to solidify that you're ready for the next step up. So this is kind of like your highlight to say, okay, from here, we're now going to try to put you in there with somebody that's really, really good. Like, let's just say a Tim Tszyu. You feel what I'm saying? Or, you know, one of the other names at 160 that's a crafty veteran, but still has enough to like be the upset. So that's the way I'm kind of seeing that fight and stuff like that. The Russell fight to me is just you're pretty much trying to, you know, get back in the game, your relevancy and stuff like that. So that fight might be a sleeper to people, but I think it's also, again, another fight that, in my opinion, Russell should get the stoppage. Yo-Yo should get the stoppage. Rolly should get the stoppage. Or if Tio is fighting like Tio should get the stoppage. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at that. Moving on to number two, boxers being delusional. I have to say it like this. There was parts of it where I did like Bud's commentary, where he was actually like, "Damn, you're kind of being honest." But then there was some of that stuff that was like, "Why are you saying what you're saying? Like, why would you actually say that about Charles Conwell?" You feel what I'm saying? When your boy Avanesian was coming off a loss, I mean, not a loss, but a layoff. You feel what I'm saying? Sean Porter was 1 foot in, 1 foot out the business of boxing. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes people have this thing of, I'm gonna be on my soapbox because now I have that platform. But then they forget the neighborhood that they came from and that people actually knew you, shook your hand, said good morning and shit like that to you. You know what I'm saying? And they see it, then they're like, whoa, the hell is this dude talking about? You know what I'm saying? So I found that part crazy. And, you know, just speaking on the delusional aspect of it, I have to bring up this point because you brought up this fighter. And at first, you know, I was gonna stay true to form and not talk about this dude, but just in this one case, I have to talk about this guy because a lot of people are putting this video out to try to justify, you know, this guy being who he is and the media saying who he is. And we're gonna talk about Shakur. This dude said on multiple occasions, I can go from 35 up to 47. His most recent was, and he's got, you can see it's the most recent video because he's got his front teeth fixed. The gap isn't in his teeth. You feel me? And he's saying that, you know, I can do everything. I could fight 135, 140, and 147, but I'll probably just play around that. I'll probably just play around that 147, dip and dab at 147. But yeah, I could fight up there. Y'all just got to remember, I'm small. Fast forward 2 weeks later, he drops a photograph of himself, like, you know, flexing. And he's saying it's like a weigh-in, and he's flexing after the weigh-in, saying, you know, 140, 147, you know, I'm not a small dude. I don't know why y'all think I'm small. And it's like, what the fuck? And then he gets on Cigar Talk and says, listen, I'm asking you to answer me. I'm asking you. What other fighter do you know that everybody's saying for you to fight at 35, 140, and 147? What fighter right now are people asking to fight in 3 different weight divisions? Cigar Talk doesn't cook them and be like, but this is what you said on multiple occasions. He's like, yo, I don't know. You got a good point there. You got a good point. And that goes to what we're talking about content creators. Where is your integrity to the news? They gave you a platform on the DAZN platform to interview these guys. But when you got in front of this dude, you just let him spit the dumbest shit that he could say, that there's actual video evidence that contradicts what he said on many different occasions. And all you got to do is present it to him and then see what he says. Is he about integrity, or is he going to tell you, nah, I ain't going to give you no more interview, fuck you? And if that's what he does, then that's what every content creator should do. This way we stop talking about this piece of shit. Period. Put his own words against him because he's saying this shit 3 months or less. He's changing the story. He said one thing 3 months ago. He says something brand new right now. He says one thing today. He'll say tomorrow 2 other things that are different based on whose ever platform he's on. And that's where the delusional part comes in, because you're saying shit and then you don't believe none of the shit you're saying, but you believe the dumbest things. You can't be a pound for pound fighter and you're scared to fight in different divisions. That is very against the very thing that makes you a pound for pound fighter. fighting in other divisions. So if people are like, yeah, I would love to see Shakur at 147. I would love to see him at 140, 140. That lives up to the fucking thing you got, nigga. The fucking pound for pound. That's what the fuck that means. And that's how you show it. That I can go up to these different divisions. So I just wanted to get that off my chest real quick. And going to Mr. Quack Sean Davis, right? After I have to say this, when I'm looking at a lot of this stuff and looking at, you know, what you did, it's just a plain ass duck. We was calling it out from the beginning. We knew what you were doing. The mere fact that you woke up and you said, God must have done this thing for you. Like God is gonna call it the WBO and tell a WBO president through a dream or an angel or something to, you know, promote Keyshawn to #1. You know what I'm saying? This shit just doesn't happen like that, bruh. And for this dude to introduce his religious belief in that aspect, it's like, okay, that's #1. You are way full of shit, because out of everything God could be doing, he gonna make sure you get a shot at Devin Haney at 147 pounds. Wow, if that shit wouldn't make me an atheist in that second. So for me, I'm just like, nah, I'm not believing that. You know what I'm saying? Moving on. Let's look at what Keyshawn was saying about the money. And this is going to go back to Zuffa deals and everything else. They're saying to give Keyshawn face, it was about the money. They never, you know, Keyshawn turned the fight down because of money, and can't nobody tell Keyshawn his worth. Okay, but if God did this for you, then God was testing you. God was looking at you and saying, well, blah, 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 blah. Well, what did you do? You said, you know what, Lord? I don't give a fuck what you just did for me. I'm not fighting this dude. So for me, I'm looking at it like this. They tried to say your biggest payday was 1.3. Then we find out that you never made it across that line to receive that money. So the original offer was still higher than what you were projected your highest pay to be. That's the 1.5. After the 1.5, 1.3, they're doubling and tripling it up. Now let me think back to a young fighter who got massacred. They really tried to blackball this young man and do all other kind of bullshit with this young man when it came down to Brian Norman Jr. versus Booth. Eddie Hearn saying, oh, the man is crazy. This is 7 times his highest pay. And all the Booth fans, yeah, beat Norman scared and beat Norman. And this is 7 times and 8 times and 22 times his pay. Okay, all right. So it's 22 times his pay. Y'all saying whatever, but Brian Norman winds up fixing that situation because he let time do its thing. But the mere fact is that the same energy doesn't apply. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to that part, I was just like, okay, yeah, that's a little weird. Now, there's something I had to look up, right? And this is to where these guys are talking about these big money deals. And Mr. Devin Haney, you know, people talking about Devin Haney is X, Y, and Z. And I was just around chats, you know, just listening to what people were saying in a hyperbole. And they were like, Dev fixed boxing, he the face of boxing, he's this, he's that. I'm like, all right now you got your 15 minutes of fame online. Because for me, at the end of the day, when I'm still hearing these conversations, if it's gonna be stated that you Devin Haney fans are like, he's the face of boxing, then why the fuck do y'all keep bringing up Tank? That tells me something ain't right. You still looking for validation. So I started to say, okay, let's look at some of these talking points. They're saying Shakur needs a big name to justify the $10 million a fight that he's supposed to have over there at Zuffa. They're saying Dev needs big names to justify his pay and stuff like that. You know what I went back and did? I went back and looked at what did Floyd Mayweather make versus Canelo Alvarez? What was the difference in pay scale? It stated that Floyd made 41.5 million. Canelo made 5. When I looked at Canelo versus Berlanga, you know, it states that Canelo was paid 35 million on the high end. Berlanga was paid 3 million. Where the fuck was the justification in that, and people still paid for it? The fans still paid for it. They still paid for Canelo versus what's the name? So it wasn't about the money. It was about the opponent. And if the opponent was built like that, I'd take the 5 million because there's the possibility that I beat your fucking ass. So Shakur and everybody justifying why Shakur shouldn't fight, you know, Ryo is bananas. Because we could talk to a dude like Kaz and Kaz will tell you that there were plenty of guys, especially any one of those Black Murderers Row fighters, that would have took pennies on the dollar to actually get in the ring and fuck up one of these real champions because they knew what was after the fact. So for you to tell me, and for Zuffa and everybody, well, we need to fight a right opponent because, you know, the money and everything has to make sense. Wow. We're not even, you know, that many years out. We're not even that many years out of when Floyd, Oscar, and all of these guys had these way lopsided pay scales because the opponent said, I just want to fuck you up. That's it. Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya, pay scale, everything was in Oscar De La Hoya's favor. But Floyd said, I just want to fuck the guy up. So imagine Oscar De La Hoya not wanting to take that fight, or Floyd backing down out of that fight because he said, well, you know, that's my biggest fight, but the money got to be right and can't nobody tell me my worth. Bruh, what the fuck are we doing and what the fuck are we talking about in this modern era of boxing? And to watch fighters like Keyshawn, and y'all try to justify it on pay. Keyshawn, yo, he just wanted the 3, and yo, people can't tell Keyshawn what his net worth is. Well, it's not about the money, nigga. It's about beating Devin Haney's ass. Because the money, the big money will come after you beat Devin Haney's ass. You can't expect it before. You got to get what you got to get. And then once you get it, then it'll show its rewards. That's the way the shit work. It don't work in the opposite. You feel me? So I just look at things like that, like, you know what, man, we are in the I'm a fucking dumbass era in boxing, where my favorite fighter's a dumbass, I'm a dumbass, and my favorite content creator's a dumbass. So I'm in a bubble of dumbasses, and guess what? More than likely, I'm going to say some dumbass shit on a panel that's, you know, just ready to rip, ready to rock, is pinpoint or laser pinpoint on the facts. Now, I just want to cover something Body said earlier about Devin Haney. I've been listening to what people been saying about Devin Haney, and I'm like, okay, what Devin Haney fans are you guys? Because at the end of the day, this is not a reason for me to be happy about Devin Haney. I find no reason to be jumping for joy and giving Devin Haney all the praises in the world. You know what I'm saying? Because you lied about your intentions at 147. You were supposed to be reaching out to all of these people for fights. You feel what I'm saying? but you landed on Brian Norman. Okay, you were supposed to, after that fight, you were supposed to fight uh, Ryan Garcia. So you duck out of Ryan, you make all the excuses, and today you're still making excuses why you can't fight Ryan. You duck out of Rolly. You won't challenge none of the other champions at 47. You're looking at going up to 54 if that's a real thing, but you keep telling us all of these weird ass intentions that nothing is happening. You said Zuffa offered you 100 million. So what was the DAZN deal? What was that DAZN deal? How does that play out? So with the DAZN deal, which direction did you go? Was it more leverage, or was it more money? Or was it just a regular signing? But right now, Bill got everybody guessing, and no details are nothing. Nobody can't say anything that's concrete. And someone please tell Bill to shut the fuck up when it comes down to Gervonta Tank Davis' career. You have no idea when that man's fighting, when he's gonna fight, or none of that shit. So you can't be out here telling people, well, I know for a fact Tank ain't coming back till 2027. I'm like, well, that's none of your fucking business, bro. Let Tank work that out. Let Tank people work that out. You only said that after Tank called your bluff for that 144 fight. So make that make sense. So for me, I'm just like, look, man, we got a lot of weird shit going on here. Keyshawn is out here, clout chasing and ducking. Led us down the hallway, said, nah, shorty, in this room, once you get in the room, there's liquor, there's weed, there's $1 million in a suitcase, and she gonna be there butt naked. We get to the door and it's like, yo, I forgot, man, I lost the keys. I lost the keys to the room. Yo, I'll be back, and this nigga don't never come back. And these goofy fans are still sitting at the door like, yeah, when Dev get back, this shit gonna be popping. Dev just saved us because we got that money in that room. We got shorty, we got the weed, and we got the liquor. Like, you dumb motherfucker. Shut up. Just shut up. Because there is no reason to be sitting there to be proud of what Devin Haney did. There's none. He's supposed to be the A side. He Debo Dev. Why didn't the fight go through? Y'all talk about, well, when it came down to Mr. Davis and asking the question, then why didn't the Shakur fight go through? Why didn't this fight go through? He's supposed to be the A side. What happened with the Lamont Roach rematch? Why didn't that? And this and that. Bring up all these dumbass questions, but won't keep that same energy for the people who are actively fighting right now, in your face, saying all of this weird shit and doing all of these weird moves, ducking out of fights, and then everybody's trying to save face to see where these guys are, how they're gonna hindsight the shit. So, look, man, that shit is just sickening to me, and it's sickening to listen to grown men at times get all emotional over these guys, and that's where I land the plane.
Yeah, man. Good, man. Great points, man. That's just astounding when you think about it. Like Canelo and Berlanga, that's 111. That's over more than 111.
Yeah.
He got well, that's less than 111. He got 111. The Oscar shit, that's 1/8. That's the Floyd and Canelo. The Floyd and Canelo, that's 1/8. The Canelo and, according to what you said, the Canelo and the Edgar, that's less than 1/11.
Yeah.
Keyshawn was getting one. Well, before it would have been a quarter. Well, before it would have been $3 million. But once it ultimately went through, that'd have been 1/4, and that's still not enough.
And that's what people need to put in perspective. Like, look at what this dude did. And then when y'all keep talking about justifying money from these contracts these people sign, it don't matter. If you're the back, you're supposed to get the highest pay. Your opponent is not supposed to be pissed off or backing out a fight for the money they get. They supposed to just be happy enough to get in the ring with you and try to beat your ass. if they were really built like that. But they not. These niggas is talking about money, 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 money. Brian Norman said, look, just a couple of 100,000 more, we got a deal. That's fair. That's fair negotiation. These niggas is just turning down fees, period. Nah, I ain't doing it. Which then tells you a lot about the heart. Yep. And when we talk about what Kaz was talking about on his show, today's fighter versus yesterday's fighter, they're not the same individuals. You know, and that's just the crazy shit, bro.
And another thing, the last thing before we get into the meat and potatoes is that's why I put up that Tank thumbnail, because Tank is being asked to fight at all these different weight classes. So that's the gaslight thing. And also just the way that Shakur approached that whole Ashaki situation, he don't got no right to be able to talk about, I see why. What if he's going to fight him? What if he still go ahead and fight him? You know, but great point, man.
That was cowardly. That was so cowardly. I was just like, bro, you seriously told that man why he didn't want to stay at 35? Why didn't your bitch ass stay at 35 when you were a champion?
Right. You wanted to fight Moritalia, but you tried to 90-10 that guy. You know what I'm saying? You tried to 90-10 that guy.
Dudes need to, all I gotta say, people need to wake up. Because we are entering the twilight zone of boxing. And, you know, I don't know. I'm just waiting for the white guy with the thick ass eyebrows and the cigarette that all of a sudden I'm be like, how the fuck the world get black and white? And this dude just says, the mind, the manner, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, yeah, we're about to enter the real twilight zone, or if people don't know, we're actually in it already. But yeah, I'm ready.
And to AJ, man. And to AJ, they're not gonna do that, man. They not. They already know. They get told before the interview, don't ask about this, don't even question that, don't, you know what I'm saying? They not gonna do that, man. Like, that's why I say, like, these guys the interview, I saw the thumbnail for that. It came up in my alerts as far as that Shakur cigar talk. I said, I'm not donating my like. I'm not donating my view. I'm not donating my like. Like these people who be doing that soft shoe content, I'm not donating my time, effort, and energy to these people, man. I'm just what you don't feed, don't grow. You know what I'm saying? They not built like that. And if you get up there, don't disrespect my host. It's like, well, if I'm asking a factual question, I'm bringing up. You can't even bring up what somebody said. Like, why would they get up there and be like, well, Shakur, you said that. Oh, here you go, disrespecting my host. Look, man, we're gonna have to let you go. But he said it. This is what he said. This is the era we in when you can't even go by, okay, you said that. I'm not pulling this shit out my ass, but I can't even ask you about it. That's just where we at, man. So, you know, I'm about to, like, now, shit, I say, man, make Shakur go through the gauntlet. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to lead me to my segue, because remember AC when I was saying the way these guys moving and how they are moving and how they're choosing and refusing, like somebody gonna get their asses busted, like, and it's gonna come out the blue to where it's like, that really wasn't supposed to happen like that?
Yep.
Well, we're there. Because what happened last night, that shit was not supposed to happen like that. This was not supposed to happen, y'all. And this is my segue to the meat and potatoes, man. You know, I was joking around, I had D Calico laughing because I was like, man, it's gonna be like because you know they call it in Spanish shoes the zapatos. I was like, it's gonna be the shoe against the roach. You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna win? And it looked like El Zapito pretty much stepped all on the motherfucking Roach in a unanimous decision. And because he had put in his application, right, to the Brat Pack, and he had all this friendly energy. We posed the question a minute ago. We brought it up here recently in this last episode where we said, did Lamont change? Did he go Hollywood? Yes, he did. He was talking all that sports science shit. He was saying, you know, He was saying all kind of things. He was saying, you know, he's 20% faster and stronger. And Zepeda, he fought differently, because I hear like people giving Shakur credit. It's like, yeah, Shakur was able to do what he did with Zepeda. The way Zepeda fought last night, that was not how he fought with Shakur. That them little nuances he added to his game. That's why sometimes in a loss you learn, because he had subtle little nuances to his game that he didn't have when he was fighting Shakur. Like that Zepeda that fought last night against Roach, that Zepeda probably would have done the same thing to Shakur. He would have done the same thing. He changed up the punches. Man, he was throwing like 4 and 5 punch combinations. He was getting his head off the line. He had that subtle little back step. He was flanking. You know, he added wrinkles to his game. And I wish I would have recorded this conversation. He said, all sports rigged, bro. Yeah, I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. Yeah, Kate, man. I do see it to a certain extent. You said Cigar. Let me read this. Cigar Talk did a whole live because Tank was ready to fight Jake Paul instead of rematch Roach. This thing ain't say about none of this. Yep. You said I'm not a fan. I'm not a hate fan, and I actually do like Keyshawn as a fighter. But Keyshawn was ready to be next because Devin was definitely beating him. Yeah, I had Devin beating him. You know what I'm saying? I had Devin beating him. But with this Roach, like, see, okay, so let me tell y'all something, man. I called AC early yesterday. It was around noon. It was around like, yeah, it was probably about noon yesterday. And I said, man, I'm going back and forth about this Lamont Zepeda thing, man. I said, because Zepeda looking like he in real good shape. He was like, yeah, man. But AC had already put down his demo on the last episode. He was like, man, for the business of boxing, you know what I'm saying? He was leaning towards Zepeda. And this is a prime example of thinking you made it. That's why I said, man, because I used to pull for Lamont Roach, man. I know he wasn't getting the publicity he needed. I knew he was a good fighter and everything, but it's like his 15 minutes of fame kind of went to his head. And so now, man, that performance he gave last night, that set him back. Will he get another fight? Will he? Yeah, he'll probably get another fight. But I'm not sure how it's going to work out for him, because it's clear now Keyshawn had Devin winning too. That's a fact, man. He didn't believe in himself. That's why I say, man, OG Cast, there's a lot of these boxers, man, like a lot of these fans, they believe more in their fighters than the actual fighters themselves. And I know from their behavior. That's why when I get off people like, oh, you tripping. I'm like, no, y'all just late. Y'all just late. You know what I'm saying? I like to I analyze and I assess, but then when I see something, man, I have no problem saying, nope, this guy ain't what you think he is. And I'll be the first one, and I'll be kicking against the pricks early, and people like, oh man, here you go, you just hating. And then in time, they be hindsight is 2020 like a motherfucker. Talking about, oh man, like this, like right now, what's going on with Keyshawn and Shakur? I'm just sitting back laughing because I'm like, I've been telling y'all about these two guys. You know what I'm saying? Like you could say shit. I could say years now. Yeah. Since it's August, we in August. I could say years. 2 years. It's been 2 years I've been saying this shit. Once I backed off Keyshawn when he was doing that Tank clout chasing, right? And then when because he was saying knock Tank when you did the title eliminator, and then when he got the belt, I said, watch he win this strap, but don't say Tank name. He won that strap. It's like, it's two other champions out there. They know who they are, and blah blah. I said, I told you this guy's PUSSY. They use Tank name because it's the thing to say, and they know they're gonna get publicity from people that hate Tank, or know that it's virtual signaling. Because if you can align yourself with people that are anti-Tank, people going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and you know what I'm saying, ride with you because they like, oh yeah, okay, you against Tank too, I'm against Tank too. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it's a cousin to trauma bonding. You know, when people are in trauma and like one person in trauma and the other person in trauma, it's like, oh, you hate Tank, I hate Tank too. Hey, what's your name? Hey, I'm Mike, man. Oh, I'm Keyshawn. Oh, okay, all right, man. Nice to meet you, man. Let's go down to the Blue Oyster. That's how that shit go. You know, But getting back to this situation right here, I was seeing that Zepeda was in excellent shape. Zepeda made adjustment to his game, and Lamont Roach went in there. It looked like Lamont Roach went in there and he really bought into his own hype. He's never really been a one-punch knockout artist. And my assessment of how it's going to go when I said that Lamont Roach cannot win, because I basically said if I can encapsulate it, I would actually say that it's going to be quality versus quantity. And I said if it's in there to where Lamont Roach, where Zepeda's hitting him with 3, 4, and 5, and Lamont's coming back with 1s and 2s, I said he's not going to be able to win that fight. And not only did that actually play out, and it played itself out like that. Now actually did it, but like Zepeda was hurting Roach. He hurt him to the body, and then the fact that he did that body work, right? The fact that he did that, whenever he would go upstairs, he stunned him. Lamont Roach was puffed up, man. He was he looked like, man, that man was breathing deep early. His nose was busted in the second round. His nose was already busted in the second round. That man got work. That man got work like a part-time job. And William Zepeda was all over this man like a cheap suit. Like all over. He was swarming him. When what Zepeda said, he said, man, I'm gonna be on him so much he gonna think he fighting an octopus. And goddamn, he was right as rain. Like Lamont looked like Lamont made a bit. I would say, if I look at my scorecard, I would say about round, I think it was around about round 4 or 5. Lamont Roach made a business decision around round 4 or 5, y'all. He made a real business decision. He was like, no, I'm not gonna sell out. I'm not going or whatever. And the way I had it it even wider than what the judges scored, but it was a real blowout. That was a real belt to ass situation, man. And I'm happy because the business of boxing can actually pride itself on energy and effort centered around William Zepeda now. Like, he's a legit champion now. You know what I'm saying? He beat like, because of the credit that everybody gave Lamont, because they say he beat Tank. You know what I'm saying? That's his claim to fame. He beat Tank, even though he got a draw, and then he got a draw against Pitbull, right? He beat a legit guy. Let the media tell it. So William Zepeda stamped himself, y'all. He's a legit bona fide champion. And I posed that question on the last live. I said, okay, this is the last question. That was the closing thoughts on our last live. When I if you haven't seen it, it looks like this. This was the preview card. And the last question I asked, I said, okay, AC, let's wrap up. I said, now what happens if William Zepeda gets his hand raised? Then what? And that's where we left off. So let's fast forward now. We're here now, AC. William Zepeda got his hand raised, bro. In a valiant, you know what I'm saying, belt to ass type effort, man. Where he actually, man, he spanked the shit out of Roach, man. He had Roach taking deep breaths, and one time Lamont went back, and this is how you know when somebody getting their ass whooped. When somebody getting their ass whooped, soon as the bell ring, they stop, they drop their hands, and they turn right around and go back to the corner. So many rounds I was looking at that shit go ding ding ding. Lamont would stop in mid, but as soon as that thing, he'd be like, all right. And then he'd go back to the corner, man. That shit was looking like, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. That shit was kind of looking like my man Earl, man. And that like that was a long 36 minutes, man. Like, we talk about Earl saying that was a long 36 minutes against Tim Tszyu. Hey, man, that was a long 36 minutes for Lamont Roach too, bro. But yeah, William Zepeda got his hand raised. AC, man, what's your thoughts, bro?
Well, me, I'm here with it. There was some things that I said I would like to see from Zepeda, you know, see if he made some adjustments and stuff like that. And for sure he did. And the one thing that kept on giving me that validation was the fact that they was talking about he learned how to apply smart pressure. And for me, I was like looking at Zepeda, looking at Shakur, looking at Devin Haney, looking at Jerome Boots Ennis. You get somebody that can do that, they're gonna beat these guys 9 times out of 10. They just have to be conditioned and accept the game plan and stick to the game plan. Zepeda came out, he automatically did the thing that I said. If he comes out and do this, I'm gonna be like, wow. He came out just working the jab, bow, bow, and a nice jab of controlling the distance and started beating Lamont Roach to the jab, whereas Lamont Roach hung the jab up. So I was like, whoa. Then he was taking his little side steps and things like that. So I think, you know, the talking points is gonna be for the talking point's gonna be giving Shakur praise. I'm not gonna do that. Not now, not in 10 more years, because I'm looking at who he has in his corner. You know, the people that he's learning from. You know, Shakur showed you some things, but it's up to you to recognize those things, fix those things, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm personally still a person that's like, look, I'll say what I have to say, but I just tried to put people on that date of when him and Shakur fought. And when you look at Lamont Roach, there is no machine behind him. So there is not that threat. Zepeda should have beaten Shakur in that first fight, based on the way he fought right now. Is that something he learned from Shakur? Is that something he always had? Because the punch, if you go back and look, and I went back to look at the punch that caught Shakur. He was right in his chest, took that tiny little half step over and was boom, caught him, and then caught him again. So it was there. It was there. Maybe that's the thing that they said, yeah, this is what you got to do. When you got them over there and you're mauling them, give them those angles so they can't see. What's his name? Joe Frazier versus Ali. Ali liked the clean room. Messy fights wasn't his thing. But Joe Frazier, that up and down and throwing punches out of nowhere, Ali couldn't adjust to that. Broke his ribs and broke his jaw. That means for the guy, you have to study the man. You're fighting the man. You're fighting his style and you're fighting the man. So if the man tells you that, look, I haven't faced buzzsaw pressure fighters that are at this elite level or at this level, high level, then I need to correct that. And for the guy that's there, you got to say, he hasn't faced a guy like me. What are the things that I see that he does wrong? Well, I see whenever he gets pressured, he tries to create the exit. So study how he creates the exits. When he tries to create those exits, throw that punch where he's going to be, not where he is. And it's a simple method because I've seen it over and over and over again. Whereas you got to be really, really a high technical fighter to beat the good professional pressure fighter. Or you got to have straight up knockout power. So the minute you line them up, they done. So those dynamics right there were completely answered for me.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, you said something though, bro. What do you think about your theory, bro? Like, what I see in the performance now, yeah, he looked in way better shape. He looked good. Like he looked like he was in impeccable shape. He was in dog shape. He never tapered off or nothing. But what do you think about your theory that you said the other day about how maybe that man got tapped? Maybe he got that Caleb Plant treatment. Because remember we were joking around.
Yeah, that's why I kept on saying. That's why I was saying, look at the date that he fought him, the year and date, and that year and date says, we have this person as president. What the fuck is going on in the streets concerning Mexicans? So look, they could have easily told him, look, bruh, you win that fight, ICE coming to get you. There's like, they'll send motherfuckers to a prison in the middle of the Everglades, or a prison that the prison dude is saying nobody will ever escape. When you telling somebody like that and you got a family, you're like, yo, I'm in their country and this shit can really happen. And it doesn't have to be a direct threat. It's just planting the idea that this can happen to you. They did it to another sports dude who was Spanish. They deported it, homie. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not, listen. Look at the way this man fought. You can't learn that much from one loss. It had to have been there. But you were restrained. And then they said, okay, Lamont Roach, let it go. When I was looking at Zepeda during all the press conferences and then, you know, looking at his energy and stuff like that, and he kept on saying, and the new. Zepeda knew. He knew. He was like, yeah, this ain't Shakur. I'm gonna fuck this guy up. I'm gonna really fuck this guy up. This is my time. And that's what I love about it, bro. And that's why I'm gonna be like, look, Shakur, you fight Moritai gonna beat you the fuck up. It's just that simple. He's gonna beat you the fuck up, especially at 140. That shit gonna be nasty looking. Like, oh, because your little jab shit, he gonna walk through that. And then hit you with like 4 or 5 punches, upstairs and downstairs. So at the end of the day, it is what it is.
So what you think is next for William Zepeda?
He's gonna probably, if he's gonna get a unification, I think it's gonna be a unification with a foreign champion. I don't think he's gonna jump in that boat and say he want Mason. To me, that would be almost a suicide mission, because Mason is not afraid to get in the trenches and bang with you. You hit him in the body, he gonna hit you in the body. Mason already showed he can get behind, you know, he can fight behind the jab and systematically break you down. Where I might give you an edge is depending on when that fight happens, because I'm starting to get nervous for Mason being down at 35. I think, you know, if you have another fight, let that be your last fight and get up to 140, acclimate yourself up there, because you're still young and you're going to do your thing. You know, you definitely going to do your thing. And if you want to make 40 a pit stop on the way to 47, I ain't got no beef with that. I ain't got no real beef with that. But I know Mason and them going to choose a hard opponent. Like opponent that we going to be like, come on, Mason, bruh. We love you to death, man. But just as a boxing fan, can you just take an easier opponent so it's not so worrisome, bruh? Fucking around being a fan of yours, I done aged, nigga, because you be making me worry. Like, bruh, these young niggas don't do what these fighters don't do what you do. Constantly putting they O on a line like that. So, yeah, it's I think it's going to be one of the other champions, with the exception of Mason. I'm going to just try to see who the other champions are, but I know there's some vacant belts. He might try to go for a unification with some of the vacant stuff that's going on. We just got to see because I think it's only. Let me be sure. I'm scrolling down right now. That's 40. All right, 35. Okay, yeah. You only have JDA Herrera as the interim. It's not been stated whether JDA Herrera is fighting for that belt or not. Which it would be like, come on, bro, just let the man fight for the belt. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I've seen some things where Mason was there. You know, and I've seen a little interview with Mason. I like his swag. Like, Mason is coming into his own. Like, he's not going to be as awkward in front of the cameras, and he's not right now when you look at him. Yeah, but he was talking this shit, like, humbly, but he was talking this shit. Like, so, I mean, I am nervous for Mason because I know he's a big boy and I want to see him at 40. But it might be because they were saying I seen some people saying I could see that, but they were saying if Schofield, finally get off the pot, if he finally get off the pot and get a title, and with Mason and Zepeda there, they could see all three of them guys mixing it up. But I ain't gonna lie, man, seeing Zepeda in that shape fighting like that, I wouldn't mind seeing Tank against him. I was man. Yeah. I said, man, if Tank came back and forth Zepeda right now, like coming off that wing like that, man, I would love to see it. I would love to see that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. But I wouldn't mind seeing Mason and Zepeda. I think I want to wait. I want to see what my guy Shock gonna do. Because Shock was looking at the win, and I'm waiting to see if Navarrete, what he got going on, because I would love for Shock to come up and do his thing. Because that's gonna open up a door against Shock and Abdullah. So it's getting ready to get real interesting at 35, bro.
Yeah, definitely, because at the end of the day, Muay is about to drop his belt. So that's the IBF, the WBA, and the WBC that'll have 3 vacant champion slots. Mason is actually the only legit champion at 135 pounds. Because right after that, it's JDA Herrera, who's an interim, and Muay who's already made the statement that he's moving up. So it's just a matter of time when he's going to drop that belt.
Now, I think Muay will entertain something if it's a unification right away, but I think he need to move up. That's a big dude. That's a big dude.
Yeah, I personally would like to see Mason and Muay go at it at 140. I know some people might feel like that's a big step up, but hey, they're both champions at 35. You feel what I'm saying? So if Mason is really gonna prove himself, he don't need to prove himself, but like really send that message at 140. If he goes up to 140, it's got to be an opponent that is making noise. Otherwise it's just you're just going up there and it's just going to be a barrel of apples. Yeah, it's all of these apples in here, all of these dangerous people up in here, and you're just one more. You know what I'm saying? So what does Mason do to stand out? What does Muay do to stand out? You feel what I'm saying? Zepeda just did his thing. Like if O'Shaq comes up to 35, you feel what I'm saying, and wants to make a run, I don't mind seeing Zepeda versus O'Shaq. I don't mind seeing Zepeda versus Tank. I think Schofield is going to duck the shit out of Zepeda. You know what I'm saying? If anybody's going to be undisputed, and if Schofield has a belt, forget about it.
Yeah, because Zepeda saying he want undisputed. But how did you feel about Muay performance though against Conceição?
I felt his performance was, if I was degraded, I would have probably given it a B+ or an A, knowing that okay, you're really I get it where you wanted to be down there at 35, but bro, it's starting to really show that you should not be at 35 anymore, because there were times that I seen, if you put your foot on the gas, and maybe you give some credit to De Los Santos for holding some energy and keeping a little bit in the tank. So if he wants to fire that blank gonna come out with like a big boom. You're gonna feel a concussion. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just like, whoa, this nigga still got bullets like that in that gun? Okay, so you need to be worked on a little bit more. So if that's what he was doing, brilliant strategy for when you got hurt and stuff like that. But where he could have put his foot on the gas at certain points and just let his hands go, I was like, yeah, I can see that. But De Los Santos just made the business decision that I'm not getting stopped today, I'm not going down today, and I'm making it to to the final rounds. I know I'm not going to win this fight, but it is what it is. As long as I could say I win 12 rounds with him, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
he
And
made it.
that's the way I felt.
Yeah, he made a business decision, man. He made a business decision. I don't know if he's gonna be relegated to a gatekeeper or a measuring stick for guys, you know, because I don't know how much more he got, man. But he got a decent resume. It's just the marquee guys. He's one of them guys where if you're not elite, you're not gonna beat him. You know, you might draw with him, but that's how he is, man. I expected more from him, but let's go over the card, the whole card. Let's get into what was your overall grade of the card, and what did you think about the Conwell and Crow fight?
There was a point I was about to text you and be like, bro, they just need to, like, his corner just needs to stop the fight. Save your fighter. You know what I'm saying? Conroe's performance, I give him a A on his performance. I'm not going to give him an A minus because I understand the context. I'm not going to do the Bud Crawford thing because at the end of the day, he's coming off a layoff, you know, and that layoff, within that layoff, he was talking about his mental state, feeling that it was a blown opportunity. He might have taken the opponent, you know, a little bit too lightly and then had to sit back and watch the guy beat him, going to fight Xander, who we were talking about. Xander was why Xander don't want to fight Charles Conwell and stuff like that, and Conwell chasing Xander and all of this other stuff. And
You might have went out. I think you went out. But I mean, I like Conwell. You know what I'm saying? I that's one of my guys.
his thing
You went out. You had went out for a second.
was
AC.
kind of giving out. Like you can see he was. I was just gonna say you could see that he was basically riding on fumes the last two rounds, the 11th and 12th round. He tried to go for one good gusto, but when dude wouldn't drop, he was like, "Yo, this shit is kind of exhausting. I wish I had more conditioning." You know, he came in hella shape, but you threw a lot of punches and a lot of power punches. So the stoppage was meh to me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't egregious. It wasn't whatever. It's just like somebody just needs to save this dude. Either way, nigga, you was gonna lose. So don't get upset. You know what I'm saying? We see the caveat of it. We can say if we're gonna keep the same Anthony Joshua energy to say, well, listen, y'all could have gave him those last 25 seconds. I mean, come on, bro. Seriously?
I think
Go ahead.
I think maybe his reputation preceded him, man, because that dude hit hard, bro.
Yeah.
Charles Conwell hit hard, and that dude could take a punch. So I think that was more of a, he should have been like, his corner should have been said, "Hey man, we ain't gonna what we gaining like from this." Like his corner should have did it, but they didn't do it. I think that was more the ref saying, "All right, man," because because he got them short, choppy. He's a throwback fighter, but he got them short, choppy joints, and he might have hit him like 4 or 5 times. You know, right? Like he might have caught him up against the ropes and hit him like 4 or 5 times, and you know what I'm saying? They already know he sent somebody up, so. Yeah, I think that was more of a, like, you know, because it didn't look. It might not look like that in that fight when he sent somebody up. It might, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't know the brain damage a nigga gonna take after the fact. You feel what I'm saying? But this is where I get it. The ref went to his corner at the beginning of the 12th and said, "Listen, you got to show me something, or I'm gonna stop this fight." Just like the other dude earlier who went out and then stopped the youngin. You feel what I'm saying? But
yeah,
that case, even when he broke him, he was like, "Show me something, okay? Show me something." And then he got clipped and then fell back into the ropes, and Charles was just putting hands on him. So it was like, okay, the ref did what he told him he was gonna do. You feel what I'm saying? But it was still, to me, like, all right, Conwell, I loved your performance. Yeah, I could see towards the end of the fight because the amount of volume punches you took, and that dude could take them punches. You know what I'm saying? And you had all them choppy joints, and you wasn't even. You did a lot more wrestling trying to get out of the clinch instead of just going with the clinch. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, but I loved his performance. I'm glad he's back. I didn't appreciate them trying to say, well, in my opinion, I think he needs about 3 more fights before you can even think about it.
2 or 3 more fights. I say, why 2 or 3?
That nigga need 1 more fight just to adjust his conditioning. That's it. Them same champions didn't want to fight him when he was good. The fuck make you think they going whatever now? Like, come on, man. Y'all, like, stop that dumb shit. That's why I was like, oh my God, what is this here, man? And even in the Charles Conwell fight, they talking about Shakur. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, man, the cocksuckery. The cocksuckery doing that. I was like, man, y'all, we got kids and we got families watching this show, but like they was on. You would think that was a Zuffa card the way they was going at it, but that was this guy right here. No, this guy right here talking about, I think he need 2 or 3 more fights. 2 or 3 more fights. That's like 2 years, bro. Like, cause ain't nobody gonna sign up to get in there with him. But he was doing hits. They was doing hits, and then I'm like, I don't understand their loyalty to Shakur with them man being over there on Zuffa. And I thought it might be better with Tim and Sean and Bud being ancillary to like Mora and Mannix, but that shit is like even worse because it's like even when you don't got to deal with it during the call, you got to deal with the cocksuckery in the shade outside of that. I'm like, man, like we gotta fix this shit. Like,
yeah, bro,
we gotta fix that, man. Like this isn't getting terrible, but like. The overall card, what would you grade that card? Yeah, OG, you're right. They got an agenda, overall, OG. But what would you grade the card?
I honestly, some people may feel I'm stretching, but I gave it an A+. I gave it an A+. High entertainment value. That fight between the last prelim fight between the 2 dudes, and I think that fight was just supposed to be a 4 or 6 rounder. The young prospect, highly touted dude, clips old boy, drops him, boom. Then they getting back in. Then ref come over and tell dude, I'm gonna stop it. You gotta show me something. And homeboy just comes out just throwing leather and gets the stoppage. Now, some people, I heard some dudes like, no, that was, I'm like, dude, he got up on the 9 count. He got up at 9, and then when the ref told him to step over, he was still looking dazed in the face. Dave, the young fighter, bro. What the fuck do you want?
He stumbled,
yeah. So I'm just like, nah, man, that was an excellent stoppage for a young fighter. No, I'm not. Any one of those stoppages, some people can try to complain, but these are the prelims. These are the guys that need to get work. You know what I'm saying? And the stoppages, when you're dealing with some prelim fighters that are on their rise, then to me it's like, save the fighter. Just because you got a loss this early in your career or with 10 or whatever fights in, that shit don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always going to use the Marvin Hagler rule. What would this generation say with Marvin Hagler after Marvin Hagler losing to 2 Philly fighters back to back? He's fighting a 10 round, loses that 10 round to a Philly fighter, then goes back down to a 6 round fight, goes up to an 8 round fight, and then loses to a Philly fighter in an 8 round fight, bro. Like, what would y'all say about Marvin Hagler knowing that fact? And you can go look at his box rec if you don't believe me. So I'm just like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, Marvin Hagler still turned out to be one of the greatest fighters. This is why I don't shit on Oshaki. This is why I don't shit on fighters that have good losses. A tough loss, good loss, bad loss. Sometimes that shit don't matter. It's the night. It's whatever. Circumstances. So as long as the fighter can come back and show championship quality, I am good.
Yeah, because with Capetillo, I was saying, man, that's the lesson he learned. I bet you gonna hold that phone forever now.
Oh
You ain't
hell
gonna get
yeah!
him to drop that phone, that right hand. He gonna hold that phone whenever he throw his hook. He gonna make sure he on the phone when he throw that hook from now on. So maybe he learned that lesson early, and he's 17. He got plenty of time. I mean, one of them guys where like, yeah, he suffered a loss early, and he can bounce back because he's hanging around Emiliano, and Emiliano looked like he was in excellent shape. He don't blow up in between fights. I was like, okay, that's good company to keep. So I like the way his father consoled him. I like the way Oscar came through. He was grabbing both sides of his face and saying, "Listen, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We ain't gonna throw you away, bro. Like it's all good. We live and learn." I like that. For the
He had
young
a
boy.
solid performance. He was actually winning the fight until he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, he got caught. As everybody else talk about it, you hear the Floyd Mayweathers, you hear De La Hoya, you hear the Terrence Crawfords. Like, look, what would you rather be caught in boxing, just caught, or beat down for 12 rounds? All these dudes say I'd rather be caught because then I just got caught. I can come back. I can get a rematch. You know what I'm saying? And if later on both of those dudes amount to something special in boxing, yeah, that's gonna be a rematch to watch, bro. Cause little man got some fucking hands.
Yeah, they were saying Buddy gonna want that rematch right away. But the dude who caught him, he kind of long in the tooth. He like 30 years old already. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But he gonna definitely get another fight. He probably definitely gonna get that rematch. But my only other thing was I thought that they was a little heavy-handed on the Quentin Randall. I don't think that it should have been that wide. And I think that Randall let that fight slip away. But that commentating earlier on, terrible, bro. I'm like, what fight are y'all watching? Quentin Randall was boxing the shit out of Buddy, and I think he got too relaxed. He started listening to his coach, and his coach said, stay in there. You know what I'm saying? He let dude get his hands off. And he got caught a couple times, and then he was in the fire. He was in the line of fire a little bit too much. And then I think, with him bouncing around and basically, it wasn't running, but like being so evasive, he kind of, like you said, he let it slip through his hands. But I don't think it was that wide as what they were saying. Like, they made it seem like it was a blowout or something. I'm like, and one dude had it a draw. Like somebody had it a draw, and then somebody had it like super wide. Like Randall didn't win a round.
Yeah, like he only won 1 or 2 rounds. I was like, what the? Nah, see that was the part that, overall was the one blemish, but it's like it was still a good fight to watch. Randall lost, but if I'm gonna nitpick, that's the one of the caveats that I'm saying, yeah, that kind of was unfair. But overall, I still felt it was an entertaining card.
Did you get to see Joel Iriarte?
Yeah, dude that he fought, he was a little tough guy, but it was just he couldn't get past the height and the reach. You know what I'm saying? And he still needs some work and stuff like that. But you can kind of see like the Diego Pacheco, Hamza Shiraz, Sebastian Fundora type shit in him. Like he's gonna be one of those tall, lean dudes that knows how to control distance and fights to their height advantages. So those are some of the things that I'm like, yeah, dude, you definitely got a lot of potential. I could see what people are talking about. Your shit is crispy. The technique is solid, but it still needs a little bit of work. You need some more looks, if that's the proper word to say for it, And once he gets in the ring with some of those looks and actually get in there with somebody that's going, make the fight ugly, make him work for every second of every round, that's when we really gonna know who he is. And right now, I don't know who that opponent would be for him. You know, one of these crafty type veterans that are just like, tonight, youngin, ain't gonna be your night. And they fight like that every second till the final bell ring. Yeah, it's gonna look ugly. Some people are gonna want to criticize him, like, is he what we thought? No, everybody gotta go through that. Everybody gotta face that ugly fighter that at some point, no matter how crafty and slick of a boxer you are, you just gotta fight. And fight if you want to win. Abdullah Mason realized that. He said, yeah, my pops and them was in the corner seeing everything. But to a certain degree, Sam Nooks is making me fight. Like, I can outbox him, but that may be what he's expecting. And I could fall into his trap. So
yeah, I think with Iriarte, I think he shouldn't put hot sauce and mustard on everything.
Yeah.
And jab a little bit more to set it up and keep going to that body. Like, he shouldn't headhunt until after the midway point in the fight. Like, so after 3 or 4 rounds, after he put that jab out there, and don't put hot sauce and mustard on everything. Just tag the dude and make him think, oh, that's his hardest punch. And then when you really put hot sauce and mustard, you catch him by surprise. But that's what I know is he put hot sauce and mustard on everything.
So let me ask you this question. Because you put me on to him. Could it be a matter of him being young and just learning how to relax? Let the fight build, and then you can see what you need to just get the guy out of there earlier. Because if you press it, you might miss a lot of work. You think so? Yeah.
It's like when they say the young adder spit too much venom, you know, that's how it is. You know, it's too much venom. And, you know, work on his back foot game. Because if he learn how to work on the back foot, if he don't press so hard, let the fight come to him, and he, you know, then when he turn up, he can catch somebody. He can set traps better like that. So he was crispy. He was like, man, a couple of them things, dude barely missed, but dude was savvy too, and he could take a licking. That dude could take some punishment, man. That man took. He got a good night rest last night, I bet. You know, it's like Lamont, Paul Crow, and that guy, they got some good rest last night, boy. I know they did. They took some
he took their little aspirins or, you know, Tylenols and shit like that, and just said, listen, I ain't gonna be up till sometime tomorrow afternoon. We gonna do Sunday.
They told my man, hey man, you can't go to sleep right now. You gotta sit up, stay up, chill out, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, we'll tell you when you can go to sleep, you know. But yeah, overall, I get a card of A. The main, I think the main event was the fight of the night. Even though I like Conwell and his work, I think he's a real throwback fighter, man. Like the way he was slipping and dipping and rolling and ducking, and then getting on the inside and going to the body, and then, you know, going upstairs and them like short, choppy 4 or 5 punch combinations. I was like, man, he was giving Buddy the business at times, man. It was like man, I love seeing that. He's a throwback fighter, man. I think he's all action, man. I hope he stay active. Let's end right here, because I think we did this one justice. Like, what you think should happen? What you think Lamont Roach need to do going forward?
Number one, run his own race. Get out of that Shakur friends and family shit, because only thing that's going to do is give you a false perception of where you really are as a fighter. You're a good, solid fighter. You know what I'm saying? I cannot give you the elite status, because it's really, at the end of the day, the way I kind of see it, it's maybe a handful of fighters who are real elite fighters, and everyone else is promising or has a prospect. but some people just want to put them on the fast track and say, well, he's on the fast track, so he must be elite. No, you have to fight people, you have to beat people in order to be elite. Just because you're on the fast track or you're on the media fast track, that doesn't cut it. So for Roach has to step back, reevaluate his own stock and net worth, and then go back at the game with a clear and concise head. He needs to adopt the Oshaki Foster attitude. If Oshaki Foster was a book, I would say go read that book, because that'll tell you how to deal with losses, but still maintain, your who you are, and still be able to talk shit back when they say, well, you took a draw here and you took a draw here. Yeah, to two guys, and look at where they are nowadays. I took a draw to the face of boxing. And then after that, I took a draw to, he may be the Mexican thotty, but at the end of the day, the nigga tough as hell. So for me, it's just like, go back, understand yourself, understand who you are, and just be Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach is a fan-friendly guy. You had that going for yourself before and leading up to the Tank fight. You changed our opinion. Nothing else. You did. We looked at you like, damn, Roach, you could have been there. We was like, yo, I hope he gets the rematch, or I hope this, I hope that. So, you still have a place in boxing. But your place in boxing is not over there trying to be with the friends and family people, because that shit is falling apart.
You think him moving down, you think him coming from 40 to 35 was an issue?
No, not really, because he's done shit like that in the past. Maybe at his age, you can kind of try to make the argument, yet, at the end of the door, that argument is like 5 cents, and you're gonna go to the penny candy store. How much shit is you really gonna get out of that argument? You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're gonna get the blow pops or the shit with the chocolate or jawbreakers or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You'll be just relegated to a couple of pieces of hard candy. So for me, it's like, nah, that's not gonna fly with me.
So is he the last one is he should he be at 35 or should he be at 40? I heard somebody say he should drop back down to 30, but should he be at 35 or 40? And there's a rematch. Should he entertain or should he try to push for that rematch with Zepeda? Would you watch that?
Yeah, I would watch the rematch with him and Zepeda. I would watch it, because I think in a rematch, he might show some new wrinkles. Go into the game plan with just working on his footwork. Just saying to himself, the ropes aren't my friend. If I'm going to beat the pressure fighter, I have to study all the guys who beat some of the most legendary pressure fighters. You know what I'm saying? Guys who crack defensive things. Like, I would go back and look at, Sugar Ray Leonard. I would go back and look at how De La Hoya picked apart some of those guys by just using a combination of a Mexican style and a pendulum style. I would look at just so many classic fights of how, some of the legends had picked apart solid, elite pressure fighters and did it in a manner that was like, oh my freaking God, I can't believe I'm watching this. You know what I'm saying? And from there, use that as your building block to beat Zepeda. Do I think he can beat Zepeda in a rematch? Yeah, I think Lamont Roach could beat Zepeda in a rematch. But if that Zepeda shows up and that Zepeda's still learning even from this experience, and that Zepeda is getting better and better at smart pressure, then that makes your task a little bit harder, especially if you're the counterpuncher, because the volume is going to beat the counter unless somehow or another you pick up some power. So when you hit him, you make him think, and you're gonna make him feel like, all right, I'm gonna put my hands in my pocket, and now I'm gonna start to walk you down. So Roach has some interesting things to get together. You know, he's got a tough road ahead of him, and that tough road is the build back and the comeback, and you know how the media is going to treat him. 2 draws and a loss. I don't know how much that's going to do for him, and him not being Latin and having that big Latin support team.
Yeah. He might have to go look at that Mr. Gary Russell smoke, man. He might have to go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, pay the piper. It's like, shoot, you mess around and beat Mr. Gary, you know, because I forgot about him when I was talking about that era, you know, that era, like that whole era, whatever. Like Mr. Gary is in that era too. So
Yeah.
Maybe Roach need to look at Mr. Gary, man. Like I know Mr. Gary gonna be popping this shit. You know, I can't wait to hear what he got to say.
I'm also going to say this on that topic.
Just what Mr. Cass said. Look at what he said. Benitez's win over Duran would be a good one for that AC.
Yeah. That's. I was trying to remember who that was that fought Duran. I'm like, I just watched the fight Duran fought somebody that I just watched on YouTube and stuff like that, because I don't know what it is, but since I subbed up to Kaz joint, like all the old fights keep popping up on my joint, on my timeline, and a lot of them I watch. I just watched the was it Michael Moore? No, it's not Michael Moore. I forgot old boy's name, and Mike McCullum. I watched McCullum and freaking James Toney.
The G man.
Huh?
The G man.
Yeah. I was watching.
I hate that. That's why I don't like Conor Ben. That's why that's why I don't like him or his father, man. That shit was bad. Like, especially with Conor cheating, and then they asked Mike McCullum's sister, did she think Nigel was cheating, and she was like, yes, like absolutely. Like, I mean, when you see him, man, that was a bad boy, and that's why I don't like when Conor they be hitting in the back of the head, bro, and
yeah.
That's why I don't respect them like that no more. Like the more and more I do my research and my history, and I look at them, I'm like, man, y'all are some dirty motherfuckers, man. I hope Ryan knock his ass out. But I digress. But I think we did a good one. I think we did this one justice, AC. What you think, man?
Yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely. I mean, we covered the whole card and we gave our honest take about it. Like I said, I was highly entertained by the card. It was good for me to see, a guy I spoke highly of and stuff like that in the past, and it broke my heart to watch him lose like that and watch his opportunity get blown. But it's also great to see him back, and even though, they're trying to take something away from him, to me, overall, there's nothing they can take away from that dude. All I gotta say is give him another fight and then put your favorite guy at 54 in there with him. You know what I'm saying? Does he beat Fundora right now? I would say, okay, if you're talking about him versus Fundora, then he may need a couple of fights, because there's not going to be any room to show signs of fatigue in a fight with Fundora. That's one thing you got to get that tall ass dude. He don't look like he get tired. So,
but Conor know how to get on the inside. That's why that's interesting, because he will get on that inside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and to me, it's just getting acclimated to just being back in the ring. You feel what I'm saying? Outside of who that is, outside of that, you can make it. Some fans will make the argument that he would need 2 fights to see Boots or whatever. because Boots has been a lot more active and stuff like that. And that's the only thing is judging for the champions. If he's looking at a champion fight, I can see the argument to a certain degree, but it all depends on who the first opponent is, in that 2-fight deal to see a champion. But other than that, I'm good for where he's at. I'm like, bro, I think you ready right now.
Yeah, as long as they keep him active, man. Like
Yeah.
no more long. Also, you got to realize what he got, man. He got a major player in the game. He just gotta, utilize him, man. Give him his opportunities, But yeah. Well, how you want to land, bro?
I just want to land like this. Keep the same energy for these dudes who they are trying to, make and have the argument that these guys are like the faces of boxing and these are the elites of boxing. So to make a fight with them, of course, it's going to be a bunch of drama behind it, and we just have to accept that. No, the fuck we don't. Because any of their other fights, there was no drama. All this Twitter shit and all of this bullshit and stuff like that. Keyshawn Davis, is there a place for you? Is there some way you can come back from this situation? Probably. But I would probably think that outside of his next fight, whatever his deal is with Top Rank, you can almost bet that he's going to wind up over there at Zuffa pretty soon. And from there, great card. Happy to see Charles Conwell back. Happy to see Mortaya get his victory, and I'm happy that Zepeda won this fight. And from there, we just got to see what these guys' futures are. Zepeda's got a belt. We got to see how he moves now that he's got a belt. Is he going to be a throwback guy, or is he just going to let Oscar, treat him like a prima donna and stuff like that? Like, oh, if you guys want to fight with Zepeda, yada, 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 and make that real messy. And I hope not. So with that being said, that's where I'll land it, man. Like and subscribe, and, tune into the next one.
I appreciate you, AC, man. Solid take, man. It had me laughing earlier, man. But yeah, enjoy your evening, bro. Till the next time.
You too, brother.
All right, man. Got another good one in the books. Melazar, Conseba. Salute, man. Great boxing breakdowns. Enjoyed it. Salute, OG Cast, man. Appreciate the feedback, man. You keep the chat going, man. We value your opinion here, man. Great input, as always, man. And subscribe to OG Cast, man. He got great historical. I say it's the blood pressure medicine of boxing, right? I'm the fruits and veggies. He the blood pressure medicine, man. You want a nice, laid back, informative. You can learn a lot from his channel, man. Check him out, man. Subscribe to his channel, man. Consummate professional. He got structure and order. He's very, very knowledgeable, man. Reasonable guy too. But I'll say this, man. Look, man, we're gonna stay in the vein of, man. Look, man, we might bring up these guys, these prima donna guys that want to live in social media and and spin you around and have you doing the hokey pokey, putting your left foot in and taking your left foot out, and where you don't even know which way is up. We'll touch and go on these guys. We're not gonna be spending a lot of time on these guys. Like I be saying, man, all you gotta do is give things some time, and you'll really be able to see what's going on. That's what I've done, man. That's why I've dismissed a lot of these guys. Like when AC was like, man, qualifying somebody as elite, that take time. Them all on the scale. They got to go through their different tests. They got to face adversity. I'm not just handing it over nobody, man. I was starting to like Keyshawn a minute ago, And then I saw his true colors, and I was just like, yeah, I know he a young guy. Yeah, he making mistakes, but it's like, man, how much is enough? Like, you can't put him and say that he like him and Shakur are the top two guys, but one, they won't fight nobody. We got more, we got more people that they won't fight than they will, right? They got an excuse for the people that want the real smoke. And then, you know, we sit around listen to guys who get disrespected for seeking the real smoke. I go, Shockey not getting the attention and you know, he's not getting what he deserves. And I bet you that people are not going to put the wind behind the Zepeda sales after this Lamont Roach. You know, they either going to try to set him up to get beat or they just going to eggplant eat Shakur after this. And it's like, it's clear that Zepeda had success because he almost dropped Shakur, right? But it's clear that he fought with more intensity, more tenacity. His punch accuracy was way better. He never stopped coming. He hurt Lamont Roach a couple times. He had Lamont in there making business decisions. You know, as far as Lamont, I think this, man, like AC said, don't revoke your application from their friends and family. You don't need to be a part of that, and you need to pick your weight class. If you want to be at 40, go to 40 and stay at 40 until you know what I'm saying, clear it out. But just bouncing weights and up and down and all that, not right now, not at this stage. If you want to get your rematch, go right back and, you know, try to go back and get your rematch if Zepeda will have you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to keep that same energy because you got to draw with Tank and everybody, oh, we want the rematch. But with this one, I don't hear nobody saying he should go back and get that rematch. You know, and I don't know if you should do an Andy Cruz and drop down. But if you, I mean, I don't know. If you do drop down, maybe an Andy Cruz. You know, I don't know. You know, but I think that your best thing would either be go get your lick back. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep that same energy that everybody had with Tank for the draw and Pitbull for the draw. Either, you know, go get your get back from Zepeda because he put belt to ass, right? Or might want to go ahead and entertain that Mr. Gary Russell smoke. It'll do some numbers. You know, Gary's going to sell that fight, and if you can get past him and beat a guy like, you know, Mr. Gary, even at this stage, you could rebalance off of that. So you got some options. You know, Zepeda, I would love to see him and Abdullah before Abdullah move up. You know, if him and Mortalia was to, you know, unify, that'd be great if we're going to go ahead and get it rocking and rolling so that we can get it by the end of the year. Because I don't think it's fair to Mortalia knowing that he's a bigger 135, and I think he'll be more comfortable at 40. And like I said, I want to see Mortalia and Mr. Gary, and Gary Antoine get it on. You know, but look, man, we're gonna highlight the guys that's pushing the sport forward, right? And we're gonna put stakes in the ground for those guys and give them guys most of our attention, man. Like, what you don't feed can't grow. So let's starve these media guys that's just all salacious and just trying to rile you up and get you all emotional and in your emotions and stuff. Let's start starving these guys. Let's start starving these guys who's not really giving us the fights, that's talking all on YouTube and Twitter all the time and not moving right. And we still, you know, Devin has been exonerated, but we got to look at his next move. You know, we got to look at his next move. And let's not matchmake for Keyshawn. Do not be out here matchmaking for Keyshawn. You know what I'm saying? Let Shakur stay over there on Zuffa Island, make him, like, allow him to fight Ryu. If he not talking about fighting Ryu and clearing out over there on Zuffa Island, he need the STFU. And Keyshawn, he need to go have several seats right now. We do not need to hear about it. We do not need to be matchmaking for him. We do not need to be making no excuses for him. You know, it's clear as day that he's ducking. That was like one of the most blatant ducks of recent time. You know what I'm saying? And watch out for these social media people, man, and the media and how they're, you know, everything seems like it's always a PBC fault, man. You got to start looking at that. Anyways, I had a wonderful time, man, watching that card, man. I give that card a solid A. You know what I'm saying? I give it an A. You know, the main card, you know, it delivered. It gave me value. My guy, Bad News is back. You know what I'm saying? He got a win in the cut. Hey, salute to Charles Conwell, man. That throwback little action figure, man. I like that guy, man. So hopefully you know, Oscar will keep him active, right? And we'll see him back. So, you know, we're gonna keep our ears to the street. This is Fruits and Veggies, Not That Reggie. that fact-based content, not opinion-based, even though we have ours. We always say silence is consent, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we got to speak to the things that need to be spoken to. That don't mean we got to harp on them. We got to speak to the thing that's not right. We got to at least say something, because silence is consent. We say, go where everybody know your name. They always glad you came, and they always sing your praise. And then come over here and hear what we got to say. Support the channel, man. I see a lot of people are influenced by the channel, right? They like the stuff that come from over here. They use the stuff. They love the talking points and all that. Support the channel. Like the videos. Comment on the videos, right? If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We still growing, man. We might lose one, and then I'll get up and I do a live, and we got 3 more. We never stop increasing subscribers. It's slow and steady, because this is the 300. You know what I'm saying? All it takes for a few good men and women, you know what I'm saying, to rock with us. We not for everybody. I always say I'm the Lloyd Banks of this shit. You know, I'm not trying to be the Drake of this shit. You know, we try to keep it boxing. We stay inside the ring, and we follow outside the ring as necessary, but that's not really our cup of tea. We all about setting up the real smoke. You know, we all about supporting the guys and the people that's going to push the sport forward, you know, and help it maintain itself. Because right now it's looking more and more like WWE, WWF. We are monetized. So hit the Cash App, hit the Super Chat. It's okay. I see a lot of people donating and you know, and supporting a lot of other channels, man. And a lot of times they be pilfering, man. They be borrowing, man. They be getting inspired from over here, man. And I see y'all supporting them. Support this channel too. There's nothing wrong with it. We're not gonna beg for it, but it do take work, time, effort, and energy to do what we do. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully you was able to put something in your rucksack and march on to your next boxing conversation with it, man. And we just gonna keep our ears to the street. This is the pulse of boxing. Because at any given time, we can tell you what's going on and what's relevant to what's going on in the sport. Y'all know how I am. I can talk that boxing all day and all night. But anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. Well, we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga? Right. Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.